having said all of that, it is now my honor to present to you President William Jefferson Clinton and the next U.S. Senator from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, President Coakley.
Hello. I'd like to thank, first of all, WPI for having us here. Thank you for the work you do to prepare your students for the 21st century. I want to thank Mayor O'Brien for letting me come back to one of my favorite towns in the United States. It's good to be back in this. Lieutenant Governor Murray, thank you very much. Congressman Neal, I could tell you stories about him until tomorrow morning, some of which would cost him re-election. He has been a great friend of Ireland. He was always there for me when I was president. We were trying to make peace in Northern Ireland. I'm very grateful to him. Thank you, Jim McGovern, for a zillion things. I had the honor of being here in Worcester for him not very long ago. I thank all the state and local officials who are here. And I want to thank Martha Coakley for running for the United States Senate. If you'll forgive me, I just want to say I might be a little rusty and a little creaky tonight because I've been up for 3 days worrying about Haiti. And before this earthquake hit, I had agreed to spend 2 years working as the United Nations envoy to Haiti. And before it hit, we were making real progress. Those of us who have had contact with the country for a long time, and Hillary and I went there in December of 1975 for the first time. And all these years, I would say in the last couple of years, Haiti has the best chance to escape its history of any time in the last 200 years. They had an economic program they were implementing. We had massive amounts of support for them among the governments of Latin America and the Caribbean. For the first time, there are 10,000 non-governmental organizations working in Haiti. And we had a commitment on the part of the government to bring in the private sector. We had 600 potential investors for new jobs there, and there were more from Latin America and the Caribbean than even from the United States, Canada, Europe, and Asia put together. Everything was going great, and then the earthquake hit. Here's what I want you to know. 2 things. First, the good news. When we find the dead and care for the living and manage the emergency situation, which is very difficult because the presidential palace has been destroyed, the parliamentary building has been destroyed, there are still senior members of parliament unaccounted for, there are still ministers of government unaccounted for, but the president and prime minister now can talk on the telephone and make decisions, and they have some support around the airport in Port-au-Prince. We have sent, from the United Nations, the Secretary General sent Mr. Moutel back to Haiti, who was there before our current leader, Mr. Nabi, who's still under the rubble. Once we account for our people at the UN, then they'll be making decisions again. And we're going to amend that economic plan to take account of what's happened in Port-au-Prince, and then we're going back to work. Yesterday, I talked to all the donors from all the countries. They're all still committed. I went to see our UN people in New York. They are more committed than ever. In this Haiti earthquake, no matter what happens under the rubble, we already know more United Nations workers have died there than ever perished in a single day in the history of the United Nations. And they want to honor their co-workers by staying with this project. And I had more than 50 citizens in my office yesterday, heads of non-governmental groups, philanthropists, and investors Every one of them said their determination to do what they were inclined to do anyway had been deepened by this. That's the good news. The bad news today is there's almost nothing happening there. And if you want to help, and Martha's going to say something about this in a minute, but if you want to help, unless you are part of a coherent medical team or a search and rescue mission, don't try to go right now. Because it's all we can do. Today, the President agreed with Hillary to let our Southern Command manage the airport. And we're going to be able to control better the coming and going, but we don't really have standard equipment there, and it's still a massive undertaking. They need food, water, medical supplies, and shelter. That's what they need. And they need some protection at night, so we're trying to get like solar flashlights and other things down there just to create some light spaces. If you've been watching this on television, you know what's happening. Imagine what it would be like if you were there and you were on your third day without any sleep. You had everything you had in the world in your hands or on your back. And every time the sun went down, you stumbled around all night long, stepping over the living and the dead. It is very difficult, but we're doing our very best. Everybody's doing well. I'm grateful to President Obama, and I thank him for sending the military down there and for putting the Secretary of State and the USAID director in charge of this. Everybody's doing everything they know to do. And we had 2 days when really nobody was in charge because neither the government nor the UN could function, and everybody worked together and got stuff done anyway. But it's going to be a long, hard drive. If you want to help now, help people stay alive. You know, even small contributions to the UN, our website, which is clintonfoundation.org/Haiti earthquake, or the text that Martha will read in a minute. That helps. Every $5, every $10 makes a big difference. Millions of people are giving literally around the world. But they're good people. And they can, for the first time, since they led the first successful slave revolt in history, they have a chance to claim a decent destiny. Their neighbors have never treated them right, and they have often not treated each other right. But they got a shot now, and we can't let this earthquake crush their dreams. So I ask you for your help. Now, let me tell you. I don't know if you saw this, but Attorney General Coakley's opponent has hit on an interesting strategy for this event we're having. And they were holding up signs saying, "Shouldn't I be in Haiti? Why are you here?" The young fellow came up to me on the way out and says, "Why are you here?" And I said, I'll answer that question. I said I already did in my remarks in Boston, but I'll answer it again if you tell me, why did you ask? And he said, well, I'm with, and he mentioned the ultra-conservative magazine he was with. And I said, so you asked me that because you don't want her to win, right? And he smiled. I said, isn't that why you asked? I said, that's why I'm here. Because I did want her to win. I say that because it's a fair question. I literally have hardly slept in 3 days. I don't know if I'll be coherent, but let me tell you this. Worcester and Massachusetts have been good to me. They've been very good to Hillary. They've been good to our family.